what we estimated yesterday alone, not even today, yesterday alone was an average of 350 billion naira. That is why it's important for government and protester to come together to have a dialogue regarding, or a negotiation regarding what the future should be. But I can tell you, it impacted our exchange yesterday. It also impacted the overall sector, especially the informal sector in Abuja, in Kano, in Kaduna. Again, it's not that protests happen everywhere, but the fear of protest made a lot of people to close their shop. Many banks were shut, insurance companies were not functioning. So it has its own major effect.
So let's look at the figures, Mr. Alaje. You said 350 billion naira. That is what we have lost daily. So 350 billion times 2 would have lost 700 billion. Now that's nearing a trillion naira.
Yes. If that happens tomorrow,
well, again, tomorrow is Saturday. Yes. We don't go into full-blown economic activities on the weekend, but we may be nearing about a trillion naira loss in the real economy, isn't it? The real sector.
Exactly. And this accounts for our GDP. If you look at the value of our GDP, it's estimated to be around $252 billion this year. So if we don't really work on it, even if you say we have 1, 2, 3 or 1 to 2 or 3% GDP growth rate, we might still have more poverty in the economy. So
I mean, I'm going to ask you this question based on what happens when, for example, there is a logistic and operational problem with lifting oil. NNPC or the marketers will tell you, when there is a problem in the country and they are not able to lift oil from Lagos to some part of the country, it takes about 3 days to 1 week to be able to make up.
Yes.
So, and I'm imagining that if we're losing, if the economy is on a standstill for 2 days, for 48 hours, how long could it take for us to be able to, get back on track?
Well, it depends. There are some that will never get back. Lives that are lost will never get back. So with those, there are no recoveries. But some, there are recoveries. For instance, in terms of crude, tankers that are supposed to move from Lagos, perhaps to as close as Ibadan. But if there is a major protest, violent protest, which of course is not what I saw in Lagos, but let's assume there was violent protest, it may stop at the availability of crude in Lagos and perhaps the rest of the country. What will that mean? When the protests end, it will take time. It may be a week, it may be 2 weeks, and so on and so forth before it gets there. And you should know that cost of protests all over the world can be divided into 4. The first one is short term. For instance, eventually truck will move and you get to destination before 1 month. And you also have the one that affects perhaps grocery stores that might have been burnt. That may take them medium term. Sometimes it takes 2 years to 5 years before they recover. And in case of government facility that was burnt, for instance, in Kano, it may take long term, around after 5 years, before that kind of factory that we saw in the communication center, I guess, in Kano. I know you interviewed the Minister for Communication yesterday, and he expressed his frustration regarding what happened yesterday. So it may not be what we can solve in the medium, in the short term. It may take a long while, a long term, but the biggest cost of all is what we cannot recover. The lives that were lost. There's nothing we can do about it.
Sadly.